The New York Rangers are defeated 2-1 in the shootout at the Tampa Bay Lightning. This was a much better game from the Rangers. Andre Vasilevskiy simply outdueled Igor Shesterkin. It was a great goaltender battle. Rangers had their chances. Frustrating to not get the 2 points. Not the end of the world either, result wise. You get one. And when you get to the shootout, when you get to overtime, it kind of becomes a crapshoot, and there were chances to win it. But getting a point isn't terrible. It was certainly a big improvement from the Capital game. Still issues that there's definitely still issues that I have, and as far as the lines, I don't really love the current mix of the lines, and as far as really the healthy scratch was Alexis Lafreniere, and that was a bit of a surprise. I don't totally hate it. If it can get him going, then I have no problem with it. But I always go back to the fact that it sucks that there's no accountability for like the Panarins of the world. Like they can struggle really as much as they want, and seemingly they would never get ice time taken away from them, and that's just the way that it is. But Lafreniere was a healthy scratch. Sammy Blais comes back in, and for me, Sammy Blais, he should be the healthy scratch. When you look at this current group, Blais to me is the odd man out. There could be others as well. Like there are definitely arguments to be made, but I don't know what's going to happen, because I think next game, I got to think Lafreniere is back. In fact, I'm almost certain that Lafreniere at the Panthers will be back. And who's the scratch? Do they go straight back to Blais? I don't know. There's certainly other people that could be considered, but it'll be interesting to see what they do. And as far as the lines go, really, there's only one of them that I think that I would really want to maybe stick with, and that is Kreider, Zibanejad, Kakko. That one I think has, and that was the line that was on for the one Ranger goal. That line, I think there's reason to think that could be effective, but Panarin and Trocheck, I just don't like that combination. They're trying to make it Panarin Strome. It's just not. And even Panarin Strome on its good days, by the end, it was just a very frustrating duo. So I would, really try to give Panarin and Chytil another chance. I think that could be a better mix. Now, obviously, Trocheck and Kreider worked well, but the point is that don't love that Panarin line. Chytil with Kravtsov and Gauthier, that had, look, it wasn't terrible. I'm open to sticking with it for a little bit. Just defensively, you have to have your concerns. It's a line that's got some speed, got some skill, got some creativity, but I just don't know. And then fourth line wasn't very good. Blais, Brodzinski, Vesey. Didn't think that was really a particularly effective fourth line. Ben Harper continues to play, and deservedly so. He's been pretty good, and we'll see what ends up happening long run. But I think what it tells you, to me, it more so speaks volumes about Libor Hájek. And now I think the Rangers this time they finally kind of given up on him. He's had his chances. It's been unsuccessful, and Harper has just been better. But the Rangers tonight, it was better. 46 shots on goal. The power play continues to kill them. And they had a 4-on-3 power play, 2-minute 4-on-3 power play in overtime, unsuccessful. Tons of shots wide the last few games. I mean, since they came back from the holiday break, they are not hitting the net. Even though you do see a high shots on goal total, Panarin in particular is just shooting way wide. And look, to me, I want that power play to be switched up. I'm open to suggestions. I really am, because it sucks that they continue to do poorly. And look, it's with the intention that eventually they come back together. It's a temporary fix. And if somehow it works, great. It's with the understanding that four, with Trocheck, the five of them will eventually come back together. But I think for now, they deserve a break. It deserves the word, but there should be a break. And there are other players that are worthy of giving it, a try to. Chytil, Kakko, those two come to mind as let's see what maybe they can do on the power play, with more minutes. And you could probably name a few other players that might be deserving as well. So that's a huge thing. The Rangers' inability on the power play has been a big reason why they've kind of not gotten as many points in the standings. And I think this is another example here where they probably should have gotten that second point. And I know Vasilevskiy is good, but a lot of it was just self-induced, not hitting the net and overpassing. It's very frustrating. And to me, Artemi Panarin is for me, public enemy number one. And the guy is unbelievable in the shootout. Like, one of the best in NHL history. Like, he is that good in the shootout. Fantastic. However, it's just one of those things where tonight, like, just he's become a defensive liability. I just feel like as a Ranger, his game has just slipped more and more and more. I can't say enough how the 1920 season, Panarin was spectacular. Like, all over the ice, honestly, two-way hockey. He was as good as you could have ever asked for. And that was really something because a lot of these big stars come to New York and they fail. Panarin thrived. And I think it's just slowly diminished. Like, the skill and ability, it's there, and the statistics will be there. But again, for me, Panarin is just a standout for someone who hasn't done well. But like, nothing's really going to change, and that's so. It's like beating a dead horse, but it's useless. So tonight, Rangers go to Tampa, and it's their first game back in Tampa since Game 6. Since they're eliminated, the game where Capo Caco was healthy scratched in favor of Dryden Hunt, and the Rangers really, in this one, got up to initially a slow start, like let's say first 5 minutes, and then really picked it up. And from there, like, this was a very good game from both sides. I think if you're the Rangers, it's what you're looking for, and just the inability to score is frustrating. But this should be looked upon as a mostly positive outing, even though I believe that there are definitely changes to be made and hopefully will be made once we go to 2023. But the Rangers, they got on the board first, and it's a goal by Mika Zibanejad, now listed as unassisted, which is interesting. Originally, the assists were given to Lindgren and Kako, but right now I am seeing it as unassisted, which is somewhat surprising. But anyway, it's Zibanejad's 16th goal of the season. It's good to see him score 5-on-5. I feel like Zibanejad, it's been mostly power play goals, not enough 5-on-5. So now, with his buddy Kreider back and with Kako, I'm open to giving that one a shot. Out of all the lines, I think that one is one that I am okay if you want to stick with that. I think there's some potential there. So the Rangers take a 1-0 lead, and there were more chances before and after. You had a Trocheck breakaway. You had, Philip Hedl had a lot of chances in this one. Gauthier later on had a breakaway that it's kind of the classic Gauthier got the speed, and you love to see it, but can't quite score those goals. And there were some other breakaways as well. Who am I forgetting? There was a breakaway, Vitaly Kravtsov. And that would have been big if Kravtsov can score there. Like, that's what you're looking for him to really get going. It's just for Kravtsov. Like, tonight, he showed some flashes. There were some good plays, but you just want to see results. And so the Rangers, they have a 1-0 lead, but just the inability, there was power plays, chances to take a 2-0 lead and couldn't do so. And ultimately, that cost them a point tonight. Johnny Brodzinski takes a bad penalty at 14:47. A tripping penalty on Brodzinski. Rangers penalty kill does the job in their one penalty kill. And, Brodzinski, the thing that works for him is that if you leave Goodrow on the top three lines, there is no other center option for the fourth line. But if they do want to move Goodrow down to the fourth line, which I don't think is a terrible idea, Brodzinski is at risk to being scratched. Like, it's kind of, in some ways, his turn, right? You think about it. Kravtsov was scratched for a while. Gauthier was scratched for a while. Blais was. Now Lafreniere. VZ, VZ, I think, could be headed there, but it's not totally fair to him. Like, I feel like he's been playing some pretty good hockey. But Brodzinski is someone, but only if Goodrow moves down. But not a good penalty by Brodzinski. Rangers have a 1-0 lead going to the second. We go to the second. Delay a game penalty on the Lightning at 5:14. Rangers, again, don't, I say again, kind of dating back to recency. The Rangers don't score. Then at 9:22, Ian Cole holds Chris Kreider, and the Rangers don't score again. And I just, for the first unit's getting too much ice time, in my opinion. I know they have the zone time, but still, I'm getting tired of it. The zone time, it's not leading to goals. And so the Rangers continue that 1-0 lead. And Tampa, in the second half of that second period, were really getting going. And Igor was making some good saves. But you knew it was only a matter of time before Tampa tied it, and they did in the third. And it was a goal by Braden Point, his 20th of the season, from Stamkos and Kucherov. And at 5:32, we're tied up, and it was a tough play. And the Panarin line was on. And for me, like, Panarin definitely doesn't take full responsibility, but he was just kind of standing around. I just feel like that the whole, if you look at the whole play, Panarin could have done a lot more. However, it's a tough one where Point stands on it, and it goes off Igor and in. So it's frustrating for Shesterkin. I'm sure he would have loved to have gotten the shutout, especially against Vasilevskiy in Tampa, but it wasn't meant to be. And so now we're tied up at 1. And there were chances back and forth in the third, but the Rangers come out of there with a point. And so that in and of itself is not a bad thing. At Tampa, they've been good lately. I mean, it goes without saying. And it's a tough place to play. At times. I should take that back. At times, it's tough to play. Not always. But it's 1-1. And so we go to overtime. And the Rangers get a power play. Philip Hedl draws a tripping penalty. Victor Hedman trips Hedl. And the Rangers have a power play. And before this, there were chances. I mean, Panarin passed to Zibanejad, and Zibanejad shoots wide, and Panarin could have shot it. But with that being said, Mika had a good chance. Mika also, a bad job by Mika in the... What period was it? I guess it was the early third period, it must have been. And Zibanejad tries to pass to Kreider. Just shoot the puck, Mika. Go in and shoot. Kreider, there was nothing there. And just, way too unselfish. And that's what the Rangers do. And on the Ranger power play, it was a lot of just wide shots. Panarin earlier in the night did hit the crossbar, and so that sort of continues, but Panarin ripping shots wide. That's a 4-on-3 where you need to score. They don't. We go to the shootout. And in the shootout, the Rangers get last licks, which I like. But the selections were definitely interesting, and I don't quite agree with them. Let's talk about it. So Tampa starts out, and Stamkos is stopped by Shesterkin. Then Trocheck, who has a good history in the shootout, goes first. I just don't think I would do that anymore. I don't think Trocheck belongs in the top 3. He's had 2 attempts, and I don't like either of them so far. And so for Vinny Trocheck, that's disappointing. He's given an opportunity to go first, and again, didn't look good either time. I think he's more of a 4th or 5th option, ideally. But again, you don't want to get too caught up in the shootout order, but it does matter. And then Braden Point. Braden Point is just so good. I look at that Tampa team and Braden Point, his emergence, when you think about the original core of the Lightning with Stamkos, with Hedman, with the Kucherovs of the world, Point kind of came a little later on, not too much so, but he has been so good for that team. He scores, and then Zibanejad stopped. And Kucherov, with a chance to win it, is stopped by Igor. So the Rangers still have a chance, and Panarin comes through and keeps it alive. Panarin does tie it up, and we head to the 4th round. Ross Colton stopped, and then poor Kaapo Kakko. It's so frustrating where, and even, look, I guess he got an assist taken off the board because now that Mika goes on assist, and Kakko, with a nice move, and it ends up going off of Vasilevskiy, off the post, and out. So Kakko could have been the hero and wasn't. It was a good move, and for me, Kakko probably belongs in that top 3 in the shootout. Obviously, Zibanejad and Panarin are automatics, but I think I would go to Kakko. And if you want to go with him first, that's all right. That's okay. But we go to the 5th round, and Nick Paul is stopped, and then they go with Philip Hedl. And as much as I like Philip Hedl, and I think that he should get more overtime ice time and just regular ice time, Hedl's not good in the shootout at all. Philip Hedl would not be high on my list. He's out for 6 lifetime, and just I would not go there next time, and they shouldn't have. We go to the 6th round, and Alex Killorn, who had never scored a shootout goal, and he's been in the league for a while now, he does score. And Adam Fox, he's the last one. He stopped, and I have no problem going with Fox. There is that creativity, and who would have been next? Tough to say. Maybe Kreider. Not that Kreider. He's got the speed at least. And speed to me, I know, I think back to Michael Nylander, the first year of the shootout, and he would go so slow and weaved, and it does work for certain people. But really, going with speed is the way. I think that's, especially if you're not like a specialist, like a Panarin or someone like that. You just got to go in with speed, which is kind of what Killorn did. Anyway, the Lightning win it in the shootout 2-1. And so the Rangers, nothing to be upset about, but they do have to, get going. Get back to their winning ways. The Rangers are now 19-12-6, and they will go to Florida and take on the Panthers, a team that just won tonight, but the Florida will play again tomorrow at Carolina. So the Rangers should be more of the rest of the team, but then again, they should have been tonight versus Tampa. And look, I think it helped that Tampa had kind of an easy game versus Montreal at home, so they really weren't feeling those effects. But the Rangers on New Year's Day, 5 o'clock game, will take on the Panthers before heading home. And that's a big one. And Florida's a team where you really want to beat them because that's a team that they won the President's Trophy last year. And I wouldn't say they're lurking right now in terms of being, but like that team that could easily find their way right back in the playoff mix. And as it is, it's going to be a fight to the finish. So you don't want to throw the Panthers now in there just to make things even tougher. Because right now, and it's so early to say this, but it looks like there might be like one really good team that misses out. But don't be surprised if Florida gets back into it. Don't be surprised if the Buffalo Sabres get into it. They've been very impressive. So, maybe some of those teams from the Atlantic could make things even more interesting. But again, Rangers get a point. They lose 2-1. Shesterkin versus Vasilevskiy was, it lived up to the hype, and Vasilevskiy was better on this night. And so now the Rangers, they will stay in Florida, take on the Panthers on New Year's. So we'll see. Maybe 2023 will bring about a little bit better hockey for the Rangers. And it'll be interesting to see. Will Alexis Lafreniere return to the lineup? I suspect he might. But we'll see. Again, Rangers lose to the Tampa Bay Lightning in the shootout 2-1.